Bright smiling group this morning. Everybody enjoying a little cooler weather. Kind of nice, isn't it? Not quite this.
I'm with you,
cool,
Mr.
right,
Singer.
man?
Ready for spring.
We
It's
missed
gonna happen
fall.
next week.
We missed fall, so I don't know what we do about spring. So anyway, okay. Washington County Commissioners Court is now in session Tuesday, October 31st, 2023 at 9 a.m. Commissioner Kester?
Yes. Today we have Reverend Johnny Williams of Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church to give us our invocation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Shall we pray? Our Father in heaven, we are gathered together here today in honor of your name, thanking you for all that you have done and are doing for us up until this present time. Many things we don't understand, but we know that you're in control. So we just ask you now to help us to be strengthened by your might from the inside. Bless these wonderful souls today that they might do business to enhance the lives of others. And we know that because you are all-knowing God, ever-present at all places, that you can rectify any ungodly or wrong situations. Now we pray that you would please forgive us of all of our misbehaviors, and thank you for loving us as your children, that you would give us another opportunity to do better in the time to come. These and all other blessings we ask in Jesus' name with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag of our great country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Item number 3, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of a proclamation proclaiming November 2023 as Operation Green Light in Washington County. The proclamation supporting Operation Green Light in Washington County. Whereas the residents of Washington County have a great respect, admiration, and utmost gratitude for all men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces, and the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas Washington County seeks to honor those individuals who have paid the high price for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, civil service, and as county veteran service officers to help fellow former service members access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year, and approximately 200,000 service members transition to civil communities annually. And studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life. And active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during their first year after military service. And Washington County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be given. Now therefore it be resolved that the Washington County Commissioners Court, duly acting in its capacity as the governing body of Washington County, hereby proclaims the month of November as Operation Green Light for veterans in Washington County. And be it further proclaimed that in observance of Operation Green Light for veterans, the Washington County Courthouse will be lit green, and all citizens are encouraged to recognize and honor all those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in a window of their place of business or residence. adopted and ordered and entered into the record of the minutes of the Commissioners Court of Washington County, Texas, this 31st day of October 2023. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the proclamation proclaiming November 2023 as Operation Green Light in Washington County.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
I would just like to say that I think that it becomes so comfortable that in our day-to-day lives that we often forget that that comfort comes from the fact that there are people who are willing to sacrifice everything for us to have that comfort. And we sometimes forget that. Recently there's a war in Israel, and those people were under attack, and their people came to their service so that they could have the comfort that we enjoy every day. They are willing to do that sacrifice, and I think having a green light on this courthouse is just such a minimal thing to allow recognition for those who've done what we take for granted most of the time. The freedoms that we have to speech, to religion, to all those things that we are guaranteed by our Constitution comes from our military. So we should thank them greatly for what they do, not only on Veterans Day, but every day. So thank you for all of you. I know there are service members here. Thank you for what you did and what you continue to do through the American Legion Hall. I was just there this weekend for your fundraiser, and I think it's a wonderful thing. So it's awesome that you guys are doing that and continuing to help those who have to come back from service and get back into the daily grind of doing a job that is so different than what they've been trained to do. So thank you for what you do.
I just want to thank y'all for all y'all do. I've had family members that lost their lives in the wars, in Vietnam, and such as that. And it just, I take my hat off to the military in this country and all the people that serve. Thank you very much for your service.
I couldn't say it better than how Commissioner Hannah put it. Very well said. We're very grateful and thankful, and I agree. It's a very small thing that we can do.
I want to thank each of you here this morning, plus all those who are not in attendance today, for your service that you provided to our great country. It is, I think, as the Commissioner said, we don't often stop and think about that. It is a wonderful service that you provide. A simple thing is being freedom to gather here today. A lot of countries around the world do not have this freedom. And to be here and to have the freedom of speech, the freedom to gather, freedom to do as we wish most of the time, it's something we take for granted, I'm afraid. So again, thank y'all so much for your wonderful service to this country.
Mr. Seeker, did you want to say anything? Because I know you like to
Yeah,
every once in a while
I'll
give
say
it.
something.
Oh, come on up to the mic, Mr. Seeker.
Thank y'all. I get emotional, so I might just do it now. I've said many a time when I've had our microphone that Washington County is a great place to be a veteran. I was in the military in San Francisco, 1971. That was about the peak of the anti-war movement. It was not fun to be in the military, and we had done nothing wrong. I came home, and we were warned when we went to the airport, there would be people waiting with signs that were not very friendly, yelling things at you, calling you a murderer, throwing things at you I can't talk about, and wanting to spit on you. That's one of the reasons I keep talking about veterans. That never needs to happen again.
Amen.
And I thank y'all for doing what you're doing. You don't have to do this. I go to district meetings and state meetings. Not every community is like this. I applaud you. And when I'm going to talk at the high school next week, I'm going to talk about things about how good it is to be a veteran in Washington County and different things. And one of the things I mentioned is like when we started, I saluted that flag.
Amen.
A salute is a sign of respect. Not everybody respects that flag. And if we don't start respecting it, something's going to catch us and we're not ready, we're not getting enough people in the military, we can get in trouble. And with that, I want to salute y'all. Out of respect. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hemmer?
On behalf of Washington County Veterans Association and all veterans of Washington County, we would like to thank you for this recognition and know that we are here to continue to serve. I did 13 years in the military, and I'm proud of every moment, but our duty is to continue to take care of our veterans, to serve our veterans, and to serve our community. So anytime we can be of any help in any way, please let any of us know, and we will reach out with an open hand. Thank you so much.
Thank you. These folks deserve a round of applause.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all so much for being with us today. And we do have our Veterans Service Officer, Mr. Purcern. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, just to say, I want to thank the Disabled American Veterans, the VFW, as well as the American Legion for coming out and supporting the county's efforts in this proclamation and recognizing our veterans and their sacrifices. And thank y'all for this.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to come forward for you? With all the veterans come forward, please.
Can you schedule a 10 week of going out? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. See you later.
One more round of applause.
We had a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, presentation by the Texas Extension Education Association. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Judge Durenberger and the county commissioners. I bring you greetings from the Washington Extension Education Association. My name is Patricia Robinson Graves, and I am in my second and final year as the chairperson. We are just one of many clubs that exist in the state of Texas under the umbrella of the Texas Extension Education Association. The mission of the Texas Extension Education Association is to work with the Texas A&M Agri-Life Extension Service to strengthen and enrich families through educational programs, leadership development, and community service. TEEA serves as a cooperative and coordinating organization for the statewide activities. October is County Appreciation Month for us, and we wanted to recognize you all and let you know how much we appreciate you. This past year, our organization, I'm talking about our local organization, we gave 2 $1,000 scholarships to 2 of our graduating 4-H members. We produced $74,508.86 in volunteer hours during community service, teaching educational programs, serving in our churches, and supporting local nonprofits that are serving our citizens and others that need an advocate or a hand up, as well as supporting our first responders. We would like to present to you a token of our appreciation for your dedicated service to Washington County and the support that you give to the Washington Extension Education Association. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Wow, the goodies are coming.
These are beautiful.
Dawn, since you're going commissioner, I'll give it to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Probably not. It's just like Christmas.
Yeah. You love it all.
Christmas early.
Get a picture. There we go. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you very much.
Who doesn't have one?
That's fine right there. That'll work fine. Yep. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Ray.
Everyone has one, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us one more time how many hours that represents?
74,000, how much, in money?
Yes, in money and time.
Hours, I'm not sure how many hours that was, but it figures out like $20 an hour.
Right, wow.
Wow.
It's a lot of hours.
It's a lot.
That's $30,000.
It's a lot.
And we're not that, we're not that big. Big
Yeah, you
bump.
got one? Can give us some promotion.
We're always accepting new members.
Well,
Yes,
thank y'all
always.
so much for what y'all do, and thank you for the goodies, I don't know if any of us really need these, but we're gonna eat them anyway. So anyway, thank you so much, appreciate you.
There are no tricks in there, they're only treats.
No,
Okay.
they're all treats.
So, ladies, I have a question for you. Miss Stephanie is new to this role, so has Miss Stephanie provided the help that you guys need?
Miss Stephanie is a treasure. She is an absolute treasure. She accompanied the, in September is our state meeting, and she accompanied and assisted and go beyond. She has, in fact, Stephanie, Miss Stephanie, has always helped the Washington Extension Education Association when she was in her other role, before she became an agent. So she is a Washington County treasure, and I hope that you all are appreciating her for the things that she do for us. I would prolong the meeting if I told you every single thing that she does, okay? And I know y'all don't want me to do that. But Miss Stephanie she's been a blessing. She assists us. If you look at us, a lot of us got gray hair. And we don't like to drive out of Washington County very much. So Miss Stephanie assists us even in our transportation.
That's great.
Okay? And she's a very good coordinator and organizer. So,
And she has a heart for this county.
Oh, absolutely.
she loves Washington County, and she extends herself and she makes sacrifices. So, yes. Anything else you'd like to know about?
No, I think that what you're telling us is what we already knew. I think at the end of the day, when we were told that she was going to get this position, we felt like Stephanie would hit the ground running, because Stephanie has proven herself to not only this court but previous courts in her ability to do her job, and we know she's a hard worker. I just wanted to know if that is felt throughout rather than just this court, because sometimes we don't know how everyone else feels, and I think it's a true testament to Miss Stephanie today. Those are tears of joy and hard work. So look, we get a lot of accolades in life, and a lot of times they come in the form of a piece of paper. But when someone gives you a compliment, the way you just did for Miss Stephanie, it does mean more to us. And I applaud the work that you ladies do, but also the work that Miss Stephanie does. So thank you so much for everything you guys do, and for Washington County. I know each and every one of you love this community, because I've seen you before come here and fight for a cause, and you're passionate. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I want to say that I work not too many doors down from where Stephanie's at, and I see what all she does in that building.
Yes.
And in and out on the grounds and everything over at the fairgrounds. Anything she does. She's a great person. I've known her folks a long time, and I'm telling you, I haven't seen anyone any better than she is. Thank you for your
And whatever
service.
role she plays, she's great.
Right.
And very humble, very humble.
Could we get a picture with you?
Oh,
Absolutely.
sure.
Come forward.
Absolutely. No, this is all their hard work. I'm just here to help.
Just a moment, would you? Can y'all read these? I mean, all the work y'all went through for these, come on. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank you, ladies, because it's really hard to say something original after Commissioner Hannah speaks, because he says it so eloquently. But we really do thank you for what y'all do for this community. Yeah.
Item number 5, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of pending Washington County Expo rental regulations contracts. This morning, we have one of those. It's for a food drive.
I move upon the approval of pending Washington County Expo rental regulation contracts and authorize the county judge to sign.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, presentation of Economic Development Quarterly Update. Ms. Rosales? Thank you for being here this morning, even though you're feeling a little under the weather.
A little under the weather, but
Thank you for toughing it out.
I'll make
for
it
us.
through.
Okay.
Good morning, Honorable Judge and Commissioners. Thanks so much for having me here today for the quarterly update. In your packets, you should have the last 3 months of the targeted updates for each month, July, August, and September. I try to make them not too detailed so that it's easy to read, but I have done, a few visitations, a few site visits, lots of meetings are going on, but I want to just kind of give you a summary of all that. One thing I do want to tell you is that the abatement agreements are all going through their process, and now begins compliance, which is a giant monster. I'm finding out, but it's great. It's going to all work out wonderful. Hopefully, we'll be getting the committee member nominations from the judge and from the mayor here soon. Anyway, that is a big lift, because, as I said, we had half a dozen this year, which was unprecedented for Washington County. I've been fielding some inquiries, and I thought I'd just give you a little bit more information about what those look like. Some of the inquiries I get regarding potential meeting space here in Brenham, hotels, solar farms, food manufacturing, a wellness compound, and quick service restaurant. Not giving you more details than that, only because the ink isn't dry and the lease hasn't signed. We also have continued negotiations with a large company making a very large capital investment here in town. Again, waiting for ink to dry. That should be soon. As far as Washington County AKAs, it's difficult to determine how many new businesses there are in the counties. And so the easiest, most expeditious way that I found to do that is through the AKA filings. The state requires an AKA filing for a new business. Do they all do it? Probably not, but again, it's something, and so we actually come here to the county and visit Beth's office to try to get that information. We're up to 196 businesses that filed AKAs in Washington County through September, so that's January through September. Housing Task Force, just want to give you some information about that. There were 10 recommendations that were shared by the task force, and we've gotten 1 through 4 approved by City Council September 21st. It's slight changes to our municipal code. The next items that are targeted is recommendations to improve downtown apartments and also a sampling of smaller lot sizes for developers. Developers are asking for variances, so we're thinking of, we'd like to come up with a proposal for a few ideas that we can give them so it's not so difficult for them. They at least have parameters of what we're allowing. The third quarter housing report for Washington County, just to let you know, it looks like the pressure is easing down. Median price is down from the same time last quarter. We're at $295,000 compared to Texas at $340,000. Human Resources Roundtable, we are still meeting and we're planning a job fair for January in conjunction with Workforce Solutions. Hopefully that will be new year, new job is kind of our theme for that. Main Street updates, just to let you know, December, there's a lot coming up. And I don't know if anyone was in town this last weekend for our first Masquerade on Main. It was extremely well attended and just a good opportunity. We're trying to shift a little bit of our focus to make sure that we include children in coming to downtown and not just adults. So it was a great, great event. On that same note for Main Street, just to let you know, the farmers market is moving. We're moving to the parking lot at Commerce. So watch for that. This Friday will be the first time we're doing that. Hopefully a little bit more concise there for everyone. And then just general information, working on our fall newsletter. I attended the TNDC conference in Houston in October, making a lot more colleagues and friends in the community. And more importantly, I did the basic economic development course and was certified last week in McKinney. And again, a lot of great information exchanged with other communities that are larger and also communities close to our size. I was surprised that in some ways I was an expert on some things like tax abatements, but we all learned from each other, and now I have a great group for resources for us. And then, of course, I think last time I mentioned Christine Simmons. She's my new admin assistant, and she is doing a great job keeping me in line. I do want to mention that one of my goals for this budget year is an RFP, request for proposal for consultant work to help us identify our targeted industries in the county. Just on a different level. I mean, we're here, we know what we see and what we like, but I want to make sure that we're not missing anything on a wider scale. We might have the capacity to do something different. So I'm working on RFPs, and because of my recent trips and conferences, I have a lot of potential businesses that would be answering that. So I will definitely get you involved. I'm hoping that we'll have focus groups within the community to also share what your ideas are. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
I only have one question. In July, in your packet here, it says that you had an ILA group meeting. Did you guys also discuss the tax phase-in and updating that document prior to getting this ILA approved?
That is on the agenda for the new committee, for the compliance committee, is updating that ILA agreement. I've already heard from many of the commissioners here, from city council members, about specific areas, salary, for instance. And even at this conference, I heard of people that they have other compliance pieces added to their tax phase-ins or 380 and 381 agreements that I want to incorporate into ours. So yes, that is definitely on the agenda. Number one is to make sure that the businesses we have now are compliant, and then number two, to consider changes to that ILA. Any other questions?
And do you have an estimated time for that to be complete?
I'm hoping by the end of the year to present a report of how everything went.
Okay.
In fact, I have a meeting on Friday with Diane White to go over compliance.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Item number 7, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of emergency medical services quarterly report. Mr. Doremus?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I know you got a lot, so I'll try to be brief and quick. I do have an answer for you after court, if you'll find me after court too. Couple things before we get into that is I threw a piece of paper on your desk there that I think Commissioner Hannah asked me to provide an update on the ARPA project that we did for idle mitigation. So that is 1 month of October fuel savings for the truck that has the idle mitigation on it.
Wow.
Which October is probably a little anomaly because we do a lot of standbys in October. And the benefit of that idle mitigation truck comes in when it's standing by at a football game or a fairgrounds or,
Right.
and we did quite a few hours of standby. So that may be a little high. My guess is it's going to average about $500 of fuel savings per month per truck. So if you do that times 4 primary trucks times 12 months, it's $40,000 of fuel. So I think that's going to help us as we suspected. And then staffing update, just because it's not really in the report, is we're technically full staff, although we have 2 long-term FMLA leaves that have been out for a while. So it doesn't feel like we're full staff. And I do have a resignation for a guy with a career change going into the IT world. So that's where we are with staffing.
Not in our IT world.
No, I tried that. It wasn't. He's going back to school. So the report is pretty uneventful for the quarter. I have added a couple new slides you probably noticed that you haven't seen before. So I'm going to go over those first and then answer any questions. Page 4, same district breakdown. This is the first time that we've had all 7 districts on a map that's collecting data from CAD. Prior to that, it only had 5 districts. So you'll see that if you compared this to the last quarter, District 4, District 3 may look a little lower because we've cut those districts in half from 6 and 7. So you'll see the 2 new districts there. Now they're collecting data in CAD, and we can give you a pretty good projection of where the calls are as we build those rural facilities out. Page 5, I'd bring attention to that just because there was some comments in some of the news articles about we only transport patients to Scott and White facilities. That is not a new slide. That's been there for years, but it does show you that there was 10 different facilities that we transported patients to. So that's not accurate. Aviation calls canceled. I only draw your attention to that when I'm on page 6 just because 84% of the time when the aircraft doesn't make a flight, it's because the ground crew canceled them, saying that the patient didn't need flown. Again, debunking a little bit of we fly everybody.
Right.
So just giving you the, and those aren't new. That's been there for a while. I know you see that.
Say that percentage again.
84% of the time. So, and the way that works is CAD gets a 911 call of a potential stroke or whatever, where it sounds like a priority 1 call. So everything starts to go until the paramedic gets there and assesses. And if we
Right.
assess the scene and the patient doesn't need to be flown, we cancel. So 84% of the time is what that's showing.
It is the ground EMS on site that
Correct.
cancels.
That's correct.
the flight.
Yes, sir.
Well, right, and the other piece to that, misinformation is that if the insurance, we wouldn't be reimbursed if we
Yeah,
were flying
of course not.
people that didn't
That didn't
need
need
to be
flown.
flown.
Correct. It's hard enough to get it from the ones that do need flown.
Exactly.
Page 8. That's a new slide. This is a new one, and this shows you really that the teamwork involved of the air and the ground crew. So you can see that the air crew covered 83 ground shifts since January. So we can't just say, well, you can't. One of the things is, well, I don't include the staff salaries into the total air program. I do, but that was one of the comments. However, if the aircraft went away tomorrow, that crew is still going to be needed on a different vehicle to do the work that they're doing. So that shows you the picture that they're not just in the air. That's 83 different times where they've covered a ground shift. And then on the far right side of that slide is we've got now ground guys that have trained up that can cover the air guys when they're on vacation. So you're seeing it mixed both ways, which is a positive for the department.
Which is something that's not done everywhere. That's cross-training.
Correct.
That's what that's called.
That's great.
So I think it's the most efficient way to run both of the operations.
It sure makes it easier. That way you're not mandatory overtime when someone needs a vacation.
Right.
Someone can ride up. Page 9, the green is new. The green just shows you what we call AGT, and I met with the judge yesterday and I need to unabbreviate that. That's air-ground transfers. So that's the number of times that the weather, as in the last couple of days, keeps us down. That doesn't keep people healthy. So critically injured people that are at our local hospital that need transferred out still have to go out. The next best thing is to put the 2 critical care trained paramedics on an ambulance and move them when weather won't allow you. So you can see that's happening monthly as well. 2, 3, 2. Over the course of the time period, we do that 24 times so far this year. So The rest of the report is pretty, I do think page 10 is important, and Robin deserves credit for page 10. We have been after doing priority dispatching for a while, of prioritizing those calls. And anytime you see numbers in priority 3 and priority 4, there's about 907 of those for this quarter. That's previously calls that we would have responded code 3 emergency traffic to, which is dangerous not just to us but to the community when you're running through intersections and those things. So about 1,000 times this quarter, because of her hard work and the dispatcher's hard work, we can reduce to code 1 non-emergency traffic because it's not a life-threatening emergency. So that's kudos to her for running that program.
Hadn't it been about a year? Wasn't it about this time last year?
It was, yep.
We did that? Okay.
And honestly, there's been, not that we can find one single negative to that.
Yeah.
So there's some concerns in some communities that you may not respond to emergency traffic to a real emergency. We have been 100% quality improvement reviewing all of those 907 to make sure we're not missing any. And so far we haven't. So they're doing a good job. That's them, by the way, not us. Page 13, I usually get asked this time of year, hey, what did we do at the fair? So I just included it in your report, for this a quarterly report. So we did about 75 hours of standby. That includes 2 football games, which normally that's separated out. I think there was some juggling of schedules this year with fair, but so it landed on a Blinn football game and a Brenham football game, which caused a little bit of a staffing problem. There's only 6 ambulances that are licensed, so they're all being used during those busy times. And then the next slide tells you what we saw as far as victims and patients. We had 22 total encounters with patients, 2 required transport, 8 were treated and released, and 12 refused transport. That was for the fair, for the duration of the fair.
I think I asked you this once before, but is it time to revisit the standby fee schedule? Or are we in a good place with the fee schedule?
We're in a break-even place.
Okay. All
Which I
right.
think is where we want to be.
Yes. Right.
We don't want
I
to be
agree.
charging the school and making money. So we're in it gets really close, but we're in a break-even place.
Okay.
That's good.
We evaluated that 2 years ago and did a cost comparison. So far we're okay.
Is it still, 2 years ago you evaluated, are you still keeping up with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Amy looks at that every year to make
Okay.
sure.
All right.
Yep. And then we did the same thing for Scarecrow. So page 15 is a Scarecrow event. We saw 8 patients. I think the cooler weather really helped us. That is about a third of what we would normally see for that festival.
Wow.
So I think the cooler weather really helped out there. And then page 16 and 17 is the First Pass project that we approved during budget. We have a lot of positive things to say about that, but I tried to condense it to 2 screenshots and a slide. That first one you see, and I know it's too small, at least for me to read, even if I extend way out. But the green check boxes means that it's gone through the system and given it a green pass rating. So essentially, the guys go on a chest pain call, they're supposed to do all these protocol things.
Right.
Around midnight, when they're finished writing that call, the lieutenant has to go through and read that call to make sure they gave nitro, aspirin, morphine, or whatever the drugs that Dr. Lesh wants us to give and how we want to treat them. So the quality of that is probably pretty low as you're running 20 and 25 calls and one person reading those early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
This software takes them through a system, it's like an AI system, and kind of reads that and tells you the red boxes are the only things you really have to look at with a human eye. So you can see there's like 7 green boxes and 3 red ones. So now the lieutenant just has to click on the red blocks, go in and see, oh, you forgot to get a signature, send it back to them to get that for billing purpose or whatever they're evaluating.
Mm-hmm.
We think it's going to really allow the lieutenants to be lieutenants more in the field and not be reviewing charts
So
all the
much
time.
paperwork,
Amy's super
yeah.
excited about it as well because they advertise 85% reduction in man hours, and I think it'll do that for us
That's
for sure.
great.
That's a huge number.
That's a huge number.
Well, definitely.
But that's all they're doing from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. Lieutenants every night. They're just reviewing charts. And
How long has it been up and running since y'all really?
it's really not. So I'm
Well,
giving
that's
this
what
early.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, it's
'cause
still in the
I'll be
build.
really excited to hear.
Our go live
the next.
was January 1.
Yeah.
We thought it would take us about 3 months to build it, and it
That's
will.
what I thought,
It'll take
yeah.
us a little longer to do it. So some of these aren't really set. I just give you examples of
The
what it's
next
doing.
quarterly report will have more data. That'll be
Absolutely, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yep. The other one is triggers. So much like, the best way I know to explain this is like, TJ usually calls us whenever the internet's out, before we even know it a lot of the time, right? Like, oh, I didn't even notice, or CAD's down, or because he's got system monitoring things, monitoring that entire
Right.
network. Those triggers that you saw on that next page do the same thing for our system. So instead of waiting to read a chart to find out we have a problem, or we have a delayed shoot time, or we got out of the station slow, those triggers will alert you right away, real time, of, hey, you're having a problem,
Wow.
before it gets too far down the road,
Right.
right? So if we have someone doesn't get out of the station in 60 seconds, it's going to trigger that and give you an alert and let you know you have a problem there. And it could have been a flat tire. It could have been, there might be a reason, but it's going to let you know that there's a problem. So we got both. We got the first pass software that reviews protocols, and then we got the triggers that monitors your system. The rest of those response times are pretty uneventful all the way back to revenue. So I'm skipping back to the revenue page, which currently we're at 4.382, 4,382,000 total revenue. We're projecting around 1.3 to 1.4 more, which has put us at the 5.6 or between 5.6 and 5.8 million for the year. That's with the IDR process is still halted. I sent y'all an email on that this morning just for your reading. Pretty detailed, but essentially October 6th, a new ruling come out that they were going to start to allow everything prior to August to start to pass through the IDR process, which is good news.
Right.
Everything post-August is still in a holdup, so pending some court rulings. So we may see some start to increase from the prior months.
Right.
Everything past August is still in a holding period. They don't think that will change until CMS, Medicare, and the government makes an official ruling on the IDR process.
Yeah.
So it could be a while. That 5.6 and 5.8 million is without the projected IDR dollars. So keep in mind, when the IDR turns back on and that flow of money starts to come through, you'll get to where we believe that 6 to 6.5 million is, just so you know. It's just going
Well,
to take a while to get there.
We're still tracking though, like based on our receivables or,
Yes,
you know,
ma'am.
approved, we're still tracking right with the pro forma, if not better, correct?
Yeah,
That's
that's why I go to the salary staffing piece.
Right.
If you're not including the salary staffing, it's going to cost around 2.6. We're going to make that with non-IDR dollars.
Right.
As we get the IDR dollars, we'll probably pay for that additional staffing too. So that, what you're talking about is on page 19. So it tells you the projected 2.3 still remaining through the IDR process. So those dollars are still out there pending.
They're pending, but they're accounts receivable.
Yeah.
Correct.
So come on.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not like they're
That's a
bad debt.
distinction that,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yes,
some
ma'am.
have tried to misconstrue.
Sure.
You know.
And then you have pretty good months of donation dollars, so I would
Yes,
draw your
yeah.
attention to that. One month was $11,000 of mostly individual donations, and one of those was $5,000.
Yeah.
So
Very good.
if you have any questions, I'll try to answer.
I don't have any questions. I would just like to say that I think that what we've accomplished here in the EMS is that we've gone from collecting data manually without technology to utilizing technology to its greatest benefit to us.
Absolutely.
What I see continuing to happen is providing more data to make our decision process a lot easier. These things that you're doing to help your staff so that they can spend more time figuring out the data that we need is just super important to us. And when I see a number of 85%, that's just phenomenal to me because that's freeing them up to do other great things.
Take care of people.
Yeah, and to take care of people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that was the goal, you know, that all of us have continued to kind of push for is utilizing technology to streamline our operations, not even just from a data
Yep.
collection standpoint. And so I'll be really excited to see how the first
Well, if you
pass-
notice, yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if you remember
Yeah.
in our 5-year strategic plan, we called for a data analyst position.
Right.
This is it, in my opinion. I don't think we'll
Yeah.
have to do that because this has a data analyst team behind it.
Mm-hmm.
If you called me one day and say, I want to know how many overdoses in my precinct, we can build a trigger for that now, and the data analyst team gathers that data for us instead of us trying to manually go through all the charts and figure it. So it really does put a team behind us
Yeah.
that works along with us on all the data
I'm
points.
telling
So-
you, the data
That's
points are gonna be-
fantastic.
And yeah, super
I
excited.
can't wait to see.
If you're saving
Yeah.
85% of your lieutenant's time, that's
Of-
phenomenal right there. Because just think of the accuracy of that. You said from 1 to 5 a.m. when they're doing these?
Not, yeah,
Come on.
human error.
Human
Yeah.
errors.
Yep.
You're not going to have accurate
Yep.
data that way. So anyway, this is a big step.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
And
so.
it minimizes, you know, it does. It streamlines your billings.
It-
It minimizes liability, because we all know
Amy's got a really like.
medical.
She loves it.
You know,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah, I bet
a
she
lot of
does.
liability.
Miss Charlie?
Two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
What are IDR dollars?
IDR is the independent review board that takes private insurance dollars. So CMS and Medicare is paying automatic. If it's Blue Cross Blue Shield or private dollars, it goes through an IDR process. Sorry, I shouldn't use abbreviations. And an independent review board of independent people look at that and say, well, here's what it costs to do the transport, here's what the insurance should pay, and they come up with a happy median. Paramedical companies for years have probably overcharged, which got them into this bind. We just happened to get into the billing process right in the middle of it.
This
So,
is a pretty amazing presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Which would be more useful if it could be shared.
I 100% agree with you.
Because
Yeah.
you guys are having a conversation.
About things you can't
Nobody out
see.
here
Yeah.
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You don't have anything.
That's an
Yeah,
easy
we've
fix,
talked-
Miss Charlie.
Well, and
Well, let's fix it.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because we need to circle back with TJ, because he was supposed to put 2 screens.
I think
one
that's
here,
the
one
was the
there.
long-term goal, is to put monitors here that you could
Supposed to be
see,
a monitor back
one there
there.
that they
Yeah.
could see, so when we present, you could see it.
Yeah, I mean, the presentation is great. There's a ton of information in there. but
You just can't see it.
you can't
Yes,
see it.
ma'am.
And Miss Charlie, we're having a meeting to discuss cabling, because it takes cables.
Yeah.
And so we'll be working on that in the next couple of months.
But thanks for your suggestion.
I'm sure I'm not the first.
It's okay. It's good.
And if we don't get it done, you won't be the last.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right,
Kevin.
is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the Washington County EMS.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 8, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of 2024 Washington County holiday schedule. Anybody have any questions or?
This is the same schedule we have
It's the
every year,
Same
correct?
schedule we've had every year, and I did send 2. The second one included the additional holidays that would give to our shift workers, because we had a discussion, I think, earlier this year in a workshop about double holiday pay and how that applied and observed in actual holidays.
Right.
So this gives you a visual representation of how often that doubles up, essentially, and also to formally include Easter Sunday as a holiday for our people who do work on Sundays.
Absolutely.
Correct.
All right.
Well, thank you for that.
I make a motion to approve the 2024 Washington County holiday schedule.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9. Item number 9. Discuss and possibly act upon the approval of the job description and title for the Public Affairs Director position approved in the 2024 budget. Angela?
On this one, there were a couple of things that I did want to mention. As you reviewed this, I did put 2 titles in there, and that was because we had approached it as a public information officer from the beginning, but after we discussed it more, looked at different monikers for it, Public Affairs Director actually suits what we want this position to provide for the county as an organization. But again, it's for you guys to decide, and I welcome any feedback on that. Also, in the essential duties and responsibilities, the second to last bullet point talks about managing and maintaining a variety of resource materials, files, and records, including news archives containing information related to public relations. We want to pare that down, information related to Washington County in the Public Relations and Media Affairs Division. But I think that it would better suit to change public relations to Washington County. Other than that, I think this is everything that we had discussed. I did have TJ review this. This is going to fall under IT for at least the first year, so he actually drafted this for me.
I don't have any questions about the job description in and of itself. I just think that it should be classified as Public Affairs Director. We have directors in these appointed positions. It seems to fit our
Absolutely.
work chart, and so with those
It fits that.
corrections and
Fits
that
his
title.
job description much better as well.
Yeah, with the correction mentioned, and that clarification, the Public Affairs Director as the title, I make a motion to approve the job description.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Okay. Item number 10, presentation of Human Resources Quarterly Report.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I sat there just now and was very grateful that my department is small and that I don't need an accounting degree to keep up with the information. I'm always impressed by the information that Kevin gives in his report. So this is the third time I've been up here to do this. I just wanted to hit a few high points. Also, just looking back, July, August, and September seems like a lifetime ago. July was a couple of conferences for me where I was able to go and learn more about counties and how they work and our pension plan and how that works, and as well as make some valuable contacts with some other people from counties across Texas and the United States. Then we flew right into budget, which was a learning curve that I hope to straighten out soon. Open enrollment, and then planning for this health fair that we've done. So touching on the bullet points, the personnel manual, which I came in here a year ago and thought I was going to finish in like 6 weeks. We're still working on that, but it is in a very rough revised status right now. I've had 1 or 2 people look over it. It's going in the right direction, and I think that the rest of the process will progress fairly swiftly. I did map out a timeline for you guys to expect next month, tomorrow. I hope to have you guys a draft that you can review so that we can sit in a workshop and discuss, and then hopefully formalize by the end of the year. If it doesn't happen, we will finish it and get it as correct for this organization as we can, and realize that when you're repairing a foundation, you have to make sure you find all of the faults before you go filling in the cracks.
Judge, Commissioners, I think that this is something that's very vital to our organization, this personnel policy. We've been having discussions over this for years, and I applaud the efforts of HR in this new administration in getting this a rough draft. It has been quite some time that we've been asking for this document to be updated. There are things that definitely need to be updated in this document. I'm sure Ms. Malchuk can testify to that after going through it, but I will tell you this is something I think we really need to make sure that we get right.
Yes.
I don't want us to do it quickly. I want us to do it correctly.
Yes.
And so while I would love for you to tell me that we're going to be able to have this January 1, if we're not going to have a document that we can all be proud of, and something that we definitely feel we've covered everything, because look, we've waited for a long time.
Right.
Let's do it right and get it to this court.
We also have to go into it with the realization that it is a living document.
Yes.
That will have to be revised. It won't always be right, and we may put something in there in a revised format that doesn't suit the organization, so we'll go and correct it. So we'll go into it with a lot of humility
Well,
and ask
I
for a
think-
lot of grace.
And I think it needs to be maintained. Every
Yes.
year it needs to be reviewed.
Yes.
You need to create yourself a committee or something to review it.
Yes, sir.
And then make recommendations to this court accordingly.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Great.
The only thing I think you and I talked about it before, but I think for some of our public safety, I'd like to break out that turnover rate.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We talked about that.
Yes.
Yeah. For public safety, especially since some of those, there's a significant amount of turnover, and it would just
It
be
is.
nice for us to kind of see those fluctuations,
It
to
is.
see if there's any kind of pattern there.
Yes.
Or improvement, or,
I
you know.
did go back and do a rough visit of that topic, and it's just a high turnover. It
Yeah.
always is. I mean, you're pushing 50% usually, but that just means out of 10 corrections officers, 5 of them are going to term within the year, which it's a lot, but it's not. You're going to always replace them.
Yeah.
So, but I will get that in the next one.
Okay.
We'll have it better. Just a few more things. Another project that I didn't anticipate to be so long-term was electronic timekeeping. We do have a good system that we've reviewed. I'm going to put it on the back burner until we finish this policy, because I want the foundation in place before we go remodeling the
Absolutely.
house. It has to be
That's exciting
vetted.
news, though.
It looks to be a good system. We want to fully vet it. They're also members of a vendor list that we're members of too. So purchase and all of that will be a little simpler than I had anticipated as well. Just to touch on everything else, we processed open enrollment in August, walked everyone through the benefits, any small changes that we had, and were able to get everyone signed up. We ended September 12th. This is information from our Texas Workforce Commission report. 230 employees. Turnover rate for the quarter was 8.66%, 20% for the year. So 235 employees. That's 46 throughout the year that have terminated in the organization. We had 16 new hires over that time and 20 terminations. We advertised for and assisted with hiring for 9 open positions, which builds up to that 16 total. Employee training, I left out a critical word in there. That was our cybersecurity training. That was all completed by the required deadline. We had a supervisor training with TAC on August 16th. We had 23 attendees from our supervisory staff within the organization, and I thought it was a great session.
Right?
It was
Yeah.
well attended. We had great feedback from everyone, hoping to do it again soon. Touch on some other topics. We also, that next day, there were a few of us who attended the TAC regional workshop in Waller County. That was a great workshop. I'm really grateful to TAC for putting those on for us. Gave us a lot of updates in areas that maybe we weren't really aware of. But it was good information and it was a great format. We had the employee health fair that was yesterday. We broke this out from the open enrollment process to give it a little bit more spotlight and not to overload our people with information. We had 23 local vendors that attended. So we had a great turnout there. We had a great setup. Huge thanks to Kathleen and Stephanie, who are like organization extraordinaires. We couldn't have done it without them. We set it up over at the event center at Expo. We only had about 36 to 40 employees show up, but everyone that did come seemed to enjoy it. We had great information, and our vendors are looking to come back next year. So I think that was really everything that I had. Were there any questions?
No, thank you,
No,
keep
thank
it
you.
up.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
I got there early, I didn't see the Zumba class.
That was to be held at 5:30 in another building. Unfortunately, attendance did drop off significantly after the 4 o'clock hour, so we didn't get to do that. I was really looking forward to it. Hopefully next year, we'll continue to make plans and improvements.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item number 11, discuss and possibly act upon requesting the county auditor to complete an audit of the 21st Judicial District Attorney's asset seizure and forfeiture accounts pursuant to Texas Code of Criminal Procedure 59.06G.
This is
Ms.
just
Hollis?
a standard report that we do every year, and it's ready to be filed. Julie's looked over it, and I've looked over it, and
Okay.
that's all of it.
I make a motion for the county auditor to complete the audit of the 21st Judicial District Attorney's asset seizure and forfeiture account pursuant to Texas Local Government Code Procedure 59.06G.
I second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 12, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of the bond for Darius Smith with the Constable Precinct 3 office.
Yes. This is a 14-month, little bit in a couple of days, just from when he started through the end of next year, because that would have been the end of David Blanky's term that he's fulfilling.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the bond for Darius Smith with the Constable Precinct 3 office.
I second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of accounts payable.
This week, we have $346,318.30 worth of bills to be paid. Not anything greatly exciting in there.
No.
I move upon the approval of accounts payable.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll recess our special meeting and we'll reconvene in executive session as soon as the courtroom is cleared.